property play in a thing like this? The team pulled a bright yellow stretcher from the truck and disappeared. It only took a few minutes for the crew to return to their vehicle, the yellow stretcher now loaded with someone strapped on top. Ellie couldn't take it anymore. With a growl, she ran toward the ambulance, kicking up dirt and stone along the way. "Excuse me," she wheezed when she reached the EMT closing up the back of the truck. "Is everything okay?" "Are you family?" The bearded man in the Shoto Fire Department t-shirt rounded the large vehicle on his way to the driver's seat. Ellie gasped after the sprint across the property. Running was her least favorite exercise. "No, I'm staying in the rental property here, but If Mrs. Perry's family arrives, please let them know we've taken her to the medical center." With that, he hopped into the driver's seat and shut the door. The sirens whirred again, and a golden dust storm chased the ambulance down the driveway. Ellie wiped the sweat from her brow as she stood in the aftermath. What, in all God's green earth, was she supposed to do now? After all, the driver had personally selected Ellie to deliver the news of her host, Mrs. Perry's accident. Illness? No idea. This already unrelaxing vacation had now taken on another level of responsibility. She'd really hoped to leave all that crap in Ohio. Hilda emerged from the bushes near the front steps, her head tilted while she watched her owner vanish down the drive. Mrs. Perry could have been her special person, her sole caretaker. Someone had to come for her. They wouldn't let the family dog, or whatever other creatures who lived on the farm, starve while their humans stayed at the hospital. The wind whistling across the fields made the world seem so vast. Behind her was the large wooden farmhouse, standing amongst the trees. An old fence wrapped around part of the property, marking off a large compartmentalized section of field for animals. Towering red barns and outbuildings surrounded the house. Flower gardens, fountains, and a round gazebo filled in the empty spaces between structures. Hilda trotted over to Ellie's feet and plopped down, shifting her legs out to the side. Her tongue unraveled from her mouth once more. Ellie tried to force down the anxiety tightening her lungs. If all hell insisted on breaking loose, she'd focus on the dog first. A place to start, if nothing else. Ellie reached down and patted her canine buddy on the head, then marched her panic-stricken ass up to the front porch of the main house. She tried the doorknob while Hilda waited expectantly at her side. Ellie busied herself by examining the plethora of art decorating the porch. She'd seen no one put paintings and sayings on the outside of their home before. Even the doormat offered an inspirational quote, "Take the leap or get out of the way." Nice. Either this house was booby-trapped, or Mrs. Perry was a motivational guru who lured travelers to her homestead for a spiritual awakening. After 5 minutes of intermittent knocking, no one had come to Ellie's rescue. Time to give up and move on to the next phase of this non-existent plan. One Marilyn Perry had left her phone number on the welcome note back at the tiny house, but assuming Marilyn was the one taken by EMS, it wouldn't do any good to call that number. Hilda's silky ears perked again, and the dog shot off toward the tiny house, well ahead of her guest. She curved around the dark teal-colored home, just slightly smaller than a shipping container, but larger than a garden shed, and vanished into the bean field. A moment later, she reappeared with the Bilexin ball clenched in her teeth. At least someone was making the best of the situation. A shrill ring sounded in Ellie's back pocket, startling Ellie into almost tripping up the first step into her vacation home. One look at her screen turned the ambulance visit into a minor inconvenience compared to the oncoming disaster that was surely about to take place. "Hi, Mom." Ellie pushed the door open a little more aggressively than necessary as she entered. "So, you really up and went to Montana. I figured you'd come to your senses before you actually got on an airplane." Her mother's greetings had gotten less friendly over the past few weeks. "And why are you breathing so loud?" Ellie shook her head and slumped onto the dining stool. "I was power walking. And yes, I up and went to Montana as planned." "Planned before you lost your job?" her mother said. Ellie hardly had the energy to argue right now, what with chaos and confusion descending on her at every turn here. My job is being phased out.